it's a bit better, yeah. You gotta finish Mario RPG.
I'll think about it. Probably when I'm not busy doing the world's worst challenges with Mario. Guess I'll play Wonder.
What have you been do? What are the world's worst challenge? I guess you did all CCs.
I'm doing it. I'm literally doing a 242 after this podcast.
Oh shit! You are.
Yeah.
Which one? Galaxy 1 or Galaxy 2?
1. It's words. All right.
Man.
I guess we could. Yeah.
You always do this to yourself. Welcome back to the JLB Podcast.
But I don't have anything to do.
My name is Joker.
This is Needle.
And today, we are with the greatest person to ever exist in the planet. Literally, if Jesus came back to life, there would most likely be this person. Or no, Jesus would not have a reason, because then this person already exists. So he'd be like, okay, well, shit, let me go back. Artemis, also known as the greatest Mario 64 speedrunner. Welcome to the podcast.
It's so real.
Hello.
So, Artemis, welcome to take 2 of the podcast. If you were to explain the first paragraph of your Wikipedia page.
Bro.
Oh, that's a weird question. I'm not sure how to answer that. I feel like that to I guess kind of explain who I am, what I do. I'm kind of more I'm a well-known member of the Mario 64 community. That's where I'm most known from. I wouldn't necessarily be like super well known, where like if you ask a random chatter, they probably won't know who I am. Mm-hmm. But if you ask like a member of the community, they would probably know who I am. So I do a lot of the stuff in the background, try to make things happen. Yeah. A lot of things that aren't known to be done by me or just happen to be done by me because I'm just there. But
so if I asked,
so do a lot of stuff in the background.
So if I asked, let me just pull a name out of my hat, Liam. If I asked Liam who you were, he'd know. He would answer.
Bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now that we're back where we were. Nintendo. What's your opinion on Nintendo Directs, Artemis?
I don't watch them.
You don't watch Nintendo Directs?
Real.
No.
That's kind of real.
Do you not keep up with current Nintendo?
That's I would just say that like I hear more about it just from other people. So I don't personally I don't feel the need to like go out of a way to watch them just because I'll hear about it regardless. If there's something that I will care about, someone will tell me. That's true. I'll just see it on Twitter or something along those lines.
That is true. I just feel like there's a sort of like special, I guess, feeling you get watching it live. I don't know. I think it's different than experiencing it. It's like, I don't know what it would be like. I guess if you're going to like E3 and you were at one of the.
Yeah, I'd say like E3.
Yeah. Well, I guess E3 is not going on anymore, but.
Yeah, I mean, I totally see why people do watch them live. It's just something where I never really got into them, so it was just something where it was like it doesn't make as huge of a difference to me personally. So I'm like, all right,
that's fair.
I'll see the games as they come out, or as people talk about them.
I suppose if sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the Direct for Wonder was probably like my most hyped one, like the one where I screamed the loudest for, because there was a lot of cool stuff that they revealed, which is kind of cool.
Right, yeah. I think if I haven't been a Nintendo fan and have been watching the Directs since 2014, I think that I probably wouldn't be watching them and waiting for them. But here I am. I mean, 2014, 2015, 2016, that was like the most difficult points to be a Nintendo fan.
Real.
That's like,
oh my god.
If you were a Nintendo fan, you were pretty much a fan of fucking nothing from 2014 to 2016. Well, I guess Smash for Wii U and 3DS, but besides that, what really came out? Tomodachi Life was pretty
Paper
good.
Mario Color Splash. Woohoo!
Oh yeah, man, I hear Paper Mario. Yeah, another Paper Mario game that no one's gonna like because it's not TTYD.
Yeah, it's so
Wait,
stupid. I kind of don't like that.
They can't say that it's not TTYD anymore because the next one is TTYD.
It literally is TTYD.
It's literally TTYD.
Yeah.
It's What's HD? What does HD stand for? Oh, high definition. I remember. I'm so smart.
Did you not?
They call
Huh?
me Smarter Factor.
Are you okay? Do we need
I
to like, take a pause on a podcast for a second? Are you good? Like, why did you
Dude.
not?
Yeah, my room is filling up with smoke by the second. I
Oh, no,
need
it's
more
over.
water, man.
Go get more water.
I can't.
Why didn't you stop?
Then what kind of host would I be if I left our guest, who is not talking, to go get water?
Buddy, I think being hydrated is a lot more important than being one of the two hosts on
I mean, I'm just drinking a shake over here. I'm chilling.
There is nothing that means more to me than being the host of this podcast. Oh,
I mean, I don't know. I guess on the topic of Paper Mario, like, I think I don't know. I think all the games are fun, and except for Sticker Star, I don't get the appeal of that game. But the other games are pretty nice. I actually liked Color Splash quite a bit.
I didn't get to play enough of Color Splash to really care. But I did get a small chance. I was young, but I got a small chance to play Super Paper Mario, and I remember liking it. And then I'm excited for TTYD to come out. Wait, does TTYD come out on May 17th?
I already pre-ordered it. It's 23rd, I think.
Okay.
It's 23rd.
I was gonna say, because there's so many things coming out on May 17th, apparently. There's a Billie Eilish album.
It's coming out on May 23rd.
There's a 21 Pilots album.
Oh, yeah, true.
And there's like a movie. I don't know what movie. Oh, it's the movie with Ryan Reynolds and John Krasinski, where it's like if your dreams came to life or something, if your imaginary friends came to life. Isn't that just the plot?
Oh yeah.
That one. Okay.
Isn't that just the plot of Where the Wild Things Are?
I think.
Sort of.
Sort of. I don't know. I've only watched the movie. I didn't. I never. I can't read. So as you guys know.
Oh, okay.
I can't read this guy.
No,
I don't have time to read either. Going so fast.
I don't have time to read. I'll do like a few books. There's a few books that if I'm really feeling it, I'll listen to it on Audible or something. But I feel like I can't read. Not literally. I feel like if I sat down, I can't sit down and read a book. I have to be doing something. That's why audiobooks are cool. I sit down, I turn on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or something, and then I drift away while playing 3D Land or something.
I can't really read. Like, I can't really read books that much anymore either. Like, I've tried, but
it's just outdated.
It's just
media.
I used to be able to do it constantly, but now I'll just put on an audiobook, or I'll put on a YouTube video. Like, I'll put on Party Crashers. Like, if I watch their video, any playlist of videos that I've watched from them, I'll put it on and I'll just work on a co-op mod or something in the background. That's normally what I do.
Yeah, books are just such a weird medium because they can be as short or as long as you want. Like my favorite book, The Great Gatsby, was only 10 hours long audiobook. There's a series that my mom listens to called In Death by J.D. Robb, and each book, she releases 2 books in the series per year. Firstly, which how do you release that series? You release 2 of that series in the same year and more books. I just don't know how someone could do that.
That's crazy.
And each book is 40 hours long in an audio version.
That's crazy though.
40 hours? I can't do anything for 40 hours.
Yeah, those are pretty long.
Well, actually,
Multi-Mario speedrunners, bro.
Multi-Mario speedrunners are built different. Just ask Joey. He'd be like, I could play Mario for 40 hours. That does sound like some shit he'd say.
Insane. Shut up.
No, we love Joey.
You're not wrong, but
I could play Mario for 40 hours.
It's kind of funny. I guess segue into that, with speedrunning.
Mm-hmm.
How because I used to be that person where it's like I can't speedrun a category that's longer than like 2 hours. It's like I used to just main 70 star for 64, and then like eventually I did 120, and like for a while I was like, all right, like under or whatever is fine.
Oh,
And
no.
then I think once I started doing 3D World, again.
The lag's back, yeah.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's a little better.
Uh,
Uh,
I hate that. It's so annoying.
yeah.
Yeah, there it goes. What the hell's going on?
I
I
don't
don't get
know,
it.
man.
Oh my god.
I mean, if it's bad, I
Hold
guess
on.
we could do it another
Let me try
day,
something.
maybe.
Let me try. Hold on.
All right. Hold on. Let me write down this time signature so I know. So I know whether to cut it out if we use this.
Can I turn off? Yeah. I mean, I could see if.
Is there anything on your
Oh.
Is there anything that's unnecessary that's running on your computer?
I have a great idea. No, pretty much.
Just Discord.
Everything else is closed.
Damn.
Could be my Switch as well. I'm gonna turn off Wi-Fi on my Switch. See if that does anything. I'll turn that off. Come on.
Dude.
Is that fine now? Okay.
Hopefully
that makes it better. Is that
right.
good now? Is it better?
Hopefully we're back. Well, what were we talking about?
I was talking about like the length of like speedrunning and stuff, like how like my care for how long a speedrun was changed. So like I think I was saying if what's wrong?
You're still lagging a little bit. Can you see if maybe it's your like video? Can you try turning off your video maybe?
Oh yeah, I could probably turn that off. It's probably that.
So the length.
If it helps, I'll just keep that off.
So the length of speed.
What is the length of like? Yeah. So like, once 3D World started, I think that's when it changed.
From
like, with Joey, when I did 380. I think that's when it changed. Then I started getting into Galaxy speedrunning. I started doing any percent. And then eventually I started doing 120 and 380 star for 3D World. And now, like, through this podcast, I'm doing a 242 G1 race. So, not to mention the 20+ hour race I did with Joey for Mario Kart. So, I feel I don't know.
I feel like I felt the same way as you. When I first maybe 2-3 years of speedrunning, I couldn't do long speedruns. I feel like that kind of changed when I did Henry Stickmin. Granted, that's a game where you press on one dialogue option, watch what happens, and then do the next one. But you just did that. Yeah. It's pretty much a movie. Just do that for like 3 hours. But I think it really changed when I did 120 in Odyssey Mario's moveset, because at the time the world record was like a 116, and I thought, man, there's no fucking way I'm doing this category. But then I started doing a 120 in 2 days, and then I did a 120 every day, and then eventually I learned the route, and then I did it, and then I got world record, and then I got minus an hour, or under an hour. So I realized, wow, this category really isn't that long anymore. But then I did 1200 star, and now I hate my life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what if I did it 10 times?
No, what if I did this run 10 times in a row? Artemis, what's the longest speedrun you've ever done?
Oh my god. The longest speedrun. I guess technically it would have been the new Super Mario Bros. Wii 100%,
Really?
but that was
Oh my god.
kind of like wasn't like really a speed run. It was still done in like one sitting effectively, but it was like
It
a
was more
just like it was like a race. Like I didn't have a timer specifically,
Yeah.
but it was like a race with a friend like a really long time ago. But in terms of like full actually speed running, it's just Galaxy 1 90%, really.
G1, yeah, that makes sense. It's about like a 2 to 3 hour speed run, 2.5 to 3 hour speed run, which yeah, that is pretty long for an 80% category.
You said new
feel-
soup, new soup Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is I guess that would be a
New
pretty
Super
long
Wii Hundo.
one hundo. Yeah.
100%
the,
is a
um,
pretty long speed run. Yeah,
And,
Yeah,
and
exits, all exits, all star coins, 5 stars on the thing.
that's like a 3 hour category. I guess I think all of the 100% in
No,
all of
it's
the
longer
new
than
soup,
that.
in all the new soup games are pretty long. Because there are multiple exits and all
Yeah.
3 star coins in every level in all the games.
Yep.
Is the hundo for Wonder longer than it is for any of the new soup games? Probably, because you have to get the
Well, Wonder
You also have
100%
to
is
get the
like
standees.
barely over 5 hours at this point.
Oh, it is? I thought it was under
Yeah, you have
5
to.
hours
Yeah,
at this point.
It's like almost. It's about to be under 5 hours, unless that changed in the last day.
Is it J
Yeah.
still?
I don't think Jay has a record in 100%. Unless if
think-
I'm misremembering my categories.
I don't think J plays anymore.
I'd believe that as well.
Yeah.
I remember when Wonder first came out, and like obviously I like beat the game and all that stuff, and I was like, screw it, we could try some runs, and I was fine with it. And then like I think any percent came out as a route, and I wasn't interested in it anymore. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened, but I just stopped playing this game, and I don't want to seem like I'm hating on the 80% category, because I mean to most people it's a pretty cool category, but I don't know. There's something about skipping half the game, the way it's being done, like in Wonder, that just kind of turns me off from wanting to speedrun it. Because like ours used to be the 80%, and then they found out you could skip like half the game by using 2P, and it's like, oh well, we're devolving back to Galaxy again. I see using 2P. I think it's cool, but I don't know.
I always thought that the 80%, or at least ever since it's been out, I always thought the 80% in Wonder has always been kind of cheaty. Like, yes, it's a valid category because you are completing the game, and with any percent of the game done, any percent. But I don't know. It just feels like I'm going. I don't know why it would be different than like Mario 64 doing BLJs, going past
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
70
say that
star,
too. Yeah,
going past the 50-star door when I don't have 50 stars. But I don't know. There's just
I think
something about it.
I think it's weird because for a 2D Mario game, usually when you're doing any percent, you usually use the skips that are like that the game gives you, like the pipes to World 5 and World 8, like or the cannons to World 5 and World 8 in the new Soup games. So like Wonder, basically Wonder. Okay, so the way I see Wonder is that it operates more like a 3D game than it does a 2D game. Like if we're being real, like
Does
it
it?
feels more like 3D World than it does New Super. That's what it feels like to me.
I
Like
guess in terms
it
of
feels like more of a 3D game.
I guess in
Like
terms
yeah,
of the
it
overworld,
obviously has the
I can see that, but I don't know about the.
yeah. Well, like think of like I there's no real way to like skip worlds. Like you have to play all the worlds as intended. And I feel like the skips is like I don't know, because like you were just talking about 64. We were talking about 64, and for that, like I don't know, it just seems like I don't know, like it's like the half the game, like the half the game is gone basically when you're playing Wonder, like when you're
It's
doing the
like
2P strat,
it's like we don't want to be
and it's like
hypocrites, but
like weird.
yeah, I don't know
I mean,
why
to be
it's
fair,
different
I
for
don't
us.
really. I'm gonna be real. I don't really like 16 star either. Like, I'll
Yeah.
still do it, but I'm not the biggest fan of the category. I'll still, but it's nice to do like in a race.
I do like doing
But I don't know.
70-star more.
It's it's something about because, like I said, in the, I mean, I guess world and even world, like if you're not doing the cutscene like if you're not doing like the crazy skip where you like you manipulate like values to get to the end, like that's whatever. And like
Right.
Mario 3's credits warp, like besides those, like you're still using the game's intended warps, whether it be via Star Road or warp whistles or even the cannons in the new Soup games. It's always been like any percent was literally you taking those paths like that the game gives you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Wonder is cool, but there aren't any warps. Like you have to play the worlds as intended. And I thought it was kind of cool because like it let you learn the levels of the game. I feel like playing through all 6
Yeah, I
worlds was
can-
kind of cool.
I can see that. Yeah.
Or 8, I guess. Because like you could actually learn all the cool, like there are a lot of cool like things in like some of the worlds in the like in from 1 through 3, like doing bubble jumps
Oh
in that one stage was really
jump,
cool
jump.
to do, and now you just don't do them. You don't do it at all in any percent now because like it's not it's weird. It kind of sucks, but I mean it's cool though. I can see why people enjoy the category.
What's
Like
your
I said,
it's
I'm
just you just don't want it to be the fastest time. You just want it to be the fastest intended, which is just
yeah,
a different
kind of
which is fine. It's just a different category at that point.
Yeah.
right.
I don't know why.
Because
we're
like yeah,
so
any
close
percent
to-
in New Super Mario Bros. Wii is like any percent happens to be intended in that game. But I'm certain if they
Right.
found a way to just skip World 5, that they'd absolutely do it because fastest way
Yeah,
to beat the
true.
game. But then they just do no major glitches or whatever they want to call it, or like all moons or like whatever they call it in Wonder. I don't remember the game.
Granted, I feel like if they found
All Wonder Seeds or whatever, or all
Yeah,
Royal
it's like
Seeds,
ours,
that's
I
what it's
think.
called, right?
Yeah, it's
Something
called
like that.
ours. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I get what you're saying, but I think it's just kind of like then you're not wanting any percent, which is fine. But
Yeah,
you don't
I
want
think that's
you
what
don't
it
want
is.
true any percent. You want the
Yeah,
intended
yeah.
any percent,
It's
which is just fine.
I think that's
It's just
why I
semantic
think
difference.
it's why like I think it's like as much as I always state that I don't like any percent for 3D World, I always find myself coming back to it because like it's kind of the same principle we just described. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, I think you explained it better. I think you explained it really good in that case cuz like I don't know.
Because like I get
something
it
about
to an
Wonder
extent because
doing
it's cool to see like how fast people can beat the game just like
yeah,
as
facts.
if it were like it came out day one, Like then you want to see
Yeah.
it then go through everything. You want to see the entire game. You don't necessarily want. It's like what was
think it's
there was
less-
a great example a while back ago where it was like if the only way to like run Mario World was through the like Ace where you get the credits
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
then no one would do it. Because
true, yeah.
that's if that's the only way to run the game, that's terrible. Which is why it's
I
not the main category. There's other categories.
I think
like there's the
it's-
11 exit, and so on.
I think it's like less. I think it's less. I think it's less me like not preferring any percent. I think it's more. I think it's more me not wanting to do it as opposed to other people. I think I'm fine with watching other people do any percent, but I don't. I feel like it's just I don't want to do it.
Right.
It's like weird. Like I think like watching other people do any percent is actually pretty cool. It's just me doing it specifically. I don't know. Just feels weird.
That's fair.
And yeah,
part of it,
anyone
like,
can say
in
it's a
games
skill
like,
issue, and definitely, but yeah.
yeah, I mean that makes sense too because like it's like a lot
Yeah.
more. It's not what you want to be playing sometimes because like it takes
Right.
certain people want to learn all of the glitches and do things like that where they're doing these out of bounds and really precise walking around like the islands and the pedal isles there. But some people just want to play the levels really fast.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's also just like what people prefer to do when they're playing the game. Do some people just want to play
True.
the levels really fast, or do you see people want to do that and then also like do these really complex glitches to save a whole bunch of time?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
I get that too. I think it's just kind of the preference there is if you want to just play the game fast or play the game with all its glitches.
Right. I
If
think
that makes
I
sense.
do want to say that like I don't want people that are watching. I don't want people thinking that like I'm just shitting on any percent or whatever. Like I said, I enjoy watching people play any percent.
Mhm.
I respect it as like its own category. It's just something I wouldn't do. Like I because if it's one thing I hate the most is like I don't like when people like dog on you because you speedrun a specific category or you speedrun a specific game. I hate that. So I wouldn't want to do that to other people. Like I said, I'm okay with it. I don't hate any percent. I just wouldn't prefer running it. That's just because it's not my cup of tea. But I do enjoy like watching it. I think it's really cool. Like
Among Us.
Shut up, Joker. But like I don't know, with us, with that, it's like I don't really care that you run Among Us. It's just like a running gag that we do. It's like whatever. You run with you at the end of the day you run what you want. It's not like I'm saying if you run Among Us we can't be friends anymore. I have to ban you. You know, it's never like that. I like I said, I don't like when people like genuinely make fun of you for like speedrunning a specific game or like a category. Like
every time
it's like what Odyssey. Like I don't care if you or Smart like Odyssey. It's just a running gag at this point about like whatever Odyssey, lol. You know, I like Odyssey actually. Mm-hmm. It's not my preferred game to run, but I like Odyssey a lot. I think it's cool.
Every time
I don't know.
Every time I get a message from someone being like, "Oh my god, you used to run Among Us," I always send that one GIF of Sackboy like turning with the like the open wide mouth slowly.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
How did you find out? Oh god,
it's over.
On the topic of like Wonder any percent and all that, I think that, say for Mario 64, if they found a way to consistently do one key RTA, I think that Mario 64 runners would feel the same way that me and Needle feel about any percent in Wonder.
I think people already do feel about it with the current way it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say
any percent zero star.
Well, yeah. But I think if they found a consistent way to do zero key or to do one key, like with the skipping Dark World entirely and going through the moat to the downstairs to the basement. Which, by the way, how did Nintendo not overlook that? How did they not make it a progressive key thing in game? But I think they'd feel the same way.
I think it's kind of funny though that you say that, Joker, because I feel like DS is even worse in that regard. Because the way 64 DS handles keys, it's just you just unlock the door. The doors themselves aren't warp doors. There are painting warps behind the doors. So that's why any percent you don't need a key. Yeah. So if you watch any percent run for 64 DS, they don't grab a single key. They don't go on any Bowser stage except for bits, because you don't need a key. Any of the you basically just like go around out of bounds into the castle. You just jump behind the door and it's a painting warp that takes you to the next area. It's never like they like it's like they accounted for that and they just kind of like went backwards. It's weird.
That game
I don't know.
That game is held together with duct tape and fucking super glue.
I mean, we could say that about the first game. The first game is like
a lot of old Nintendo
to its credit.
Games are.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to its credit, it's the first 3D Mario. It's not, I think I think for a first 3D Mario, I think it held down pretty great. Like,
it was the first 3D platformer, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 3D platformer. First 3D Mario would have been like Super Mario Kart. I feel like technically.
Was that TurboGrafx?
Yeah. It was like mode. It was using like mode 7. I'm pretty sure. To like give like a 3D effect. I guess if anything, RPG would have been the first 3D Mario.
Yeah, quote unquote,
in that regard.
3D.
Yeah.
In the way that there is an X, a Y, and a Z. But in the way that it's like actually 3D, probably Mario 64. Because is there really there's no
of its style.
There's no really Y axis in Super Mario Kart. It's just X and Z, huh?
It's you don't really. I mean, you do you jump, but it's like
all you do when you jump is just.
I guess it's not. It's the same. So the way I see it, it's the same 3D. It's because it's mode 7. It's not exactly 3D. It's just a graphics chip that simulates 3D, kind of like how Star Fox is, like the Super FX chip.
Yeah, that
I think
was.
It's more on the. I think it was more of the effect that Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 give, with its quote unquote 3D on the special stages of those games. Yeah. Where, because like they're not exactly 3D. It's mainly just Sonic or tails in one spot while everything around them moves. It's not really them making them like moving around in the field. So I guess in that regard, it'd be like, yeah, 64.
Well, did you know that the Nintendo 64 was actually not the first 64-bit game console?
No.
It was.
Yeah, it isn't.
It was the Atari Jaguar, technically. It
Sounds
had
cool.
two 32-bit processors. So they said.
Yeah, I think they consider that 64-bit. That's not how that works.
They called it a 64-bit system when they had two 32-bit processors, which 32-bit still more than 16, which is what it was at the time. That was the Genesis and SNES. But
the only other 32-bit consoles that were out, I think it was like the Sega Saturn and the what? Is it Sega Saturn? I think 32-bit. I think it was, and so was I think it was just a Sega Saturn.
Was the Virtual Boy?
And the 32X. I don't know.
I think the Virtual Boy was 32-bit, and I think the Genesis did have the 32-bit like
processor.
The 32X like add-on, yeah.
Oh, the disc.
Yeah, and it had like, I think Knuckles Chaotix was like showing that off, which it looked pretty cool. Too bad that it was one of many of Sega's failed hardware things.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. They like spent so much money.
Imagine
like they went crazy with Sonic 1 and oh yeah. I wonder what they would be called.
If Sega kept making consoles, do you think that they would be in the console wars with Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, or do you think it would be like instead of Sony, it would be like Nintendo, Sega, Microsoft?
The thing is, I'm not sure.
So, at this point,
yeah. I think they would still go bankrupt, but just much later.
If they treat their say that they're still making consoles today, hypothetically, if they treat their consoles the same way that they treat their games right now, then they would absolutely be bankrupt. But I mean, I guess I can't say that really. They just announced a bunch of reboots of series, didn't they? Like Jet Set Radio and stuff.
Yeah, I'm so glad they're bringing that back. I'm like, as much, don't get me wrong, I am a Sonic fan to the core, but I kind of hate that they've just been focusing on Sonic a lot. They have so many cool IPs like Jet Set Radio.
Are they bringing back
and like Super Monkey Ball? It just sucks.
Are they bringing back Knights?
I wish they did. Knights was so cool.
Knights is a cool franchise. I just don't know if they said they were bringing it back.
It's only like that one game, and then there's a sprinkle of references that you see in like Sonic Adventure and like Sonic Lost World, which is cool, but like, God, they have so many cool like things that they could do, and it's just like they've been just doing Sonic stuff, and it's like, as cool as that is, don't get me wrong, I love me a Sonic game. I just wish that they would focus more on their other IPs, because like, it's like the first game came out, and that was their magnum opus, and like they were so in their head on it that like they just kept using a lot of their resources on other add-ons and stuff that just basically failed. Like, you had an add-on and they released like one Sonic game for it, like the Sega CD with Sonic CD, and then the 32X with Knuckles Chaotix, and like, as cool as that is, it's just like it didn't sell well. A lot of these things failed. Like even the Dreamcast fell flat, which sucks because Sonic Adventure was a really good game. SA1 and 2 were really good games for
into the 2010s. The Dreamcast was still getting games.
In fact, wasn't the Dreamcast one of the first consoles to have like internet, like online capabilities?
The Saturn had internet with Sega Netlink.
I think it was like Saturn. It was a Saturn, right? Yeah, okay, it was a Saturn, not the Dreamcast.
Yeah, the Saturn had Sega
Netlink. They were doing pretty well, and it was just
they were ahead of their time. They just made. So I think I don't know if they really made mistakes or if Nintendo was just better.
Probably a combination of both.
I guess. I don't really know if they made any mistakes, because was Sonic Adventure really...
I don't know. They were a lot more flashy.
Yeah, for sure. Sega does what Nintendo don't. They loved, like... If you guys know the story of Apple Computer, they would taunt IBM. I think... Sega is like Apple, except now they're not a $1 trillion company and they're bankrupt. Sega is what Apple could have been.
And it's like, It's just kind of like it's kind of sad because then like so I think what was it? I think it was either Sonic Advance 1 or Sonic Heroes. That was like the first like entry that wasn't a port that was on like a Nintendo console, which is kind of like kind of sucks. Like
To think,
I think
like,
we got Sonic Adventure 2 Battle first for GameCube. That was like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I think was the first one that like the first Sonic game technically that was released on Nintendo's hardware.
was that not on Dreamcast?
That's when Sonic Adventure 2 was on Dreamcast. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was on GameCube. That was the port of Sonic Adventure 2. It was GameCube
okay.
and like PS2, I think.
Let me see. Sonic Adventure
But
2 Battle. It was.
yeah,
It was released on December 2001 in Japan and 2002 elsewhere for the Nintendo GameCube. Yep.
yeah.
Wow. And it's
And
only
then
available for the
Heroes
GameCube.
came after with the event.
Mm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
now for Steam, but at that time it
Oh,
was
well, yeah.
GameCube. Yeah.
I just this is like the third podcast where we've talked about Sonic in a row about how we think Sonic has gone.
Like
Yeah, that it keeps missing.
like mad at us.
that it keeps missing our
Okay,
podcast.
next
where we talk about
podcast we
Sonic.
gotta have. Next, I think we should do like next podcast. We should definitely have like Zeta like on if they can be on and like they could
Talk
be
about
with like whoever
Sonic.
we have next.
Maybe
Yeah,
we got
'cause, like, that's
actually
bad.
I can't spoil who we have next. I'll tell Artemis who we have next when
Oh
we're
yeah,
off.
that's true.
But it's someone
true.
who's important. I mean, not as important as
Nice.
Artemis. Artemis is as I
Artemis is
said,
just
is
the
like
goat,
the second
though.
coming
Yeah.
of Jesus. But
I'm gonna say Artemis is a goat. Like, what are you on about?
yeah, Artemis is the greatest of all time, the greatest Mario 64 runner, as many have said.
I-
Um,
I remember like meting Artemis in person for the first time. It was actually really cool.
I didn't know Artemis was Artemis
Like, it was
until I
like
met
this.
Artemis.
that's kind of. I mean,
I knew who Artemis
I
was.
forgot,
I was a
like-
fan of them. I didn't know Artemis was Artemis until I met Artemis, though.
it's a lot. I don't know. Like, I think it's like I forgot how we met, but
I think we just
it
like,
was more.
went up to
I know
them.
it was drink pace.
Yeah.
Like for fact, but it was. I don't know. I remember the stupid interaction we had with Joker during Sunshine. I remember that,
Yeah.
but
We started chanting Artemis to come out.
Yeah, that was something.
I think one of the coolest moments though was you letting us feature co-op because somebody had like dropped out last minute.
Yeah.
Like for submission, and you guys had nothing for like 2 hours. So like we were like, what if we just did co-op?
Yeah.
You were like, yeah, and I was like, oh, this is cool.
Dude.
I thought that was
It just
awesome.
worked out because I know you guys were talking about like wanting to show it off at some point, and then someone just
Yeah.
happened to drop out. And I'm like, well, you
Yeah.
were just talking about it. Why don't we just do it?
I looked
The script
into
was crazy.
Yeah, it was perfect.
after I got back from Pace, I looked into that guy because I was like, man, it's kind of shitty of him to drop out last minute. Apparently, he never even went. I don't remember his name. He never even went to Pace. He didn't ever show up. And apparently, he's also a huge conservative. So, I just blocked him on Twitter.
Oh well,
I don't even remember what he was going to do. Wasn't he going to do some weird NES game?
I
can't
couldn't
remember
even
much.
tell you what it was.
Dude.
yeah, that was like. I can't remember, to be honest. I just remember us clutching out with Star Road Co-op
Yeah.
as poorly as we did.
I think
And as asleep as I was by the end of it.
yeah, I had to go over and wake you up, being like, "Hey, the run's about to end."
Yeah,
Yeah, you were.
it wasn't the worst time that's happened though.
Yeah, I remember that was such a good run for commentary. I was like, you could call it a speed run, and everyone laughed every time.
I think and I honestly that first pace was so memorable mainly because like that kind of put a name on our group. I feel
On us,
like especially the Sunshine run. That Sunshine run really sealed it for us. Like especially people in like the chat, like people wanted us to like come back and stuff. I thought it was really cool that people actually like enjoyed our commentary / company. I thought it was sick.
Yeah.
And I feel like it wasn't for like Artemis letting us do Star Road, I don't know if that would be true. Like, I feel like that kind of happened, and then like then us doing OMM the next pace, and then me and Day and like Sly commentating for Mario Kart. It was
Well,
just
we
like
also
insane.
we
People
also did
really like
OMM
having us
first
around.
pace.
That too, yeah.
We
We
had
did do OMM
Frost.
first pace. And I don't know. I feel a lot more at home. I like at pace. Like obviously the first time it was nervous because like it's
Yeah.
not new people, but you know, people that like I'm meeting for the first time in person. So yeah, a bad impression. So
welcome.
it was definitely with a lot more people, I guess.
You're lagging a little bit, by the way. But yeah, I can understand what you're saying with pace. I was super nervous the first time around going to pace. Okay, so I didn't know it was an in-person
God.
event when I first submitted. I thought that it was an online event. When I found out it was an in-person event, I DM'd Milo. I was like, "Hey, I don't know if I can go to this. Can you can I do this remotely?" And he said, kind of the whole point is that it's like the first in-person marathon event since COVID started. So I had to like beg my mom to go, and she let me, and I'm so happy. I'm so glad that she did. It was some of the best moments of my life.
If your mom said no, we wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
I feel. If your mom said no to that, we wouldn't have gone because
maybe
you
Swag
asked
would've.
us to commentate for you.
Yeah,
Like you asked us to commentate for you, and I didn't think I heard of like pace before that.
Yeah, I
So
just
it's
put
just
you
like,
guys
oh,
down
wow.
as I just put you guys down as commentators because I was like, okay, they'll probably want to commentate this. Why not? But
The planet's definitely aligned for sure.
At that point, when I was submitting, I had no clue it was an in-person event. And I hated showing my face too. I was considering for a while wearing a mask while on camera, but I ended up not. I've gotten more comfortable with it since then. But I don't know. I feel like Pace really opened up a lot of our shells to one another.
Oh, for sure.
To meeting other people in other communities. Like Artemis, like
Yeah.
the goat. We met the goat.
Yeah.
Like I'm definitely extroverted to a degree, but I think I've definitely gotten more insane, like crazy in terms of like, because like I knew about the pace parties and I didn't really go to those. I think summer pace was like the first time where I went to one with like that like Joey and Rox and Hex were in,
right,
and it was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, I wish I talked to more people during summer pace. I was just super out of it that time, I think. I don't know. I guess I just felt like the first few days, as you know, I was super depressed for some reason.
Yeah.
I just don't really understand why. I guess I was feeling a little homesick because by the time the event started, we were already home. Like compared to last pace, because we stayed like 5 extra days.
Yeah,
or something.
You were like 5 or 4 days in by the time the event started. Yeah,
and by that time in the last pace, we were already almost pretty much going home. So I was super homesick, and then we still had a week left, and I was like, I am just not having a good time. I want to go home. I don't want to do this. So I'm glad I ended up being glad that I stayed. We ended up doing karaoke and the Mario 64 trivia where we got third.
Dude, we popped off on that trivia. Oh my god, it was insane. That question was
we went from second to last to third.
I think it was it like how many blue coins are in Shifting Sandland or something like that? Or which level had the most blue coins?
Of these, which has the most blue coins, and it was SSL.
Oh my
And then everyone got it wrong except for like three teams.
Bro, that last pokey that we realized that came in Clyde.
Yeah. Everyone just bum rushing Scott with all their boards at the end. That was
so good. Oh my god.
Funny. Realizing that someone's gonna get fucking trampled trying to hand their board into Scott.
It just shows how many of us are competitive. It's really funny.
Are you excited for next pace, Artemis?
I'm stressed, but
you're stressed.
Oh yeah.
Why?
That's fair. I mean,
Artemis happens every pace.
I guess.
Yeah, Artemis is usually like queens, like they're making sure that pace goes smooth. So I don't blame her for.
You are an employee, so I guess any good employee would feel a little worried. But I mean, I don't think you have anything to worry about. You're gonna have plenty of people there. I mean, can something
Oh yeah.
can something really as bad as what happened during summer pace last year happen? No, fingers crossed.
Oh, I mean, there's. I'm sure it will be fine. It's more of just like the general anxiety of it not going well, just because it's a hard event to run.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it will go well. I know people will enjoy themselves and everything like that. So
Yeah.
it's more of just the general concern of what could go wrong, because things have definitely gone wrong before. So
Mhm.
it'll be a good time regardless on how it will go, if that makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair.
Kind of sucks because most of us aren't going this time around.
Yeah.
I think Druz is like the only one of our group that's going this time, and it's just, it sucks because I recently moved back to New York, so I don't have enough money saved up to go. Joker's job is like he barely gets any time off, so he can't go, and then
Super
it's during
strict.
school for swag. It's just.
That's why I'm hoping this
Yeah.
JLB thing takes off, so I can be employed by myself and go to pace.
It's so real.
Yeah.
I definitely want to try and go the fall one though. Fall one's probably the play for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I wish it was around like holidays for me. It's just unfortunately not. I guess the fall one's kind of close to a holiday. It's close to Thanksgiving week, but you guys aren't gonna put it on Thanksgiving week because it's fucking Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, correct.
You wouldn't put it on during a holiday for sure. I wish I could go. Yeah, throw next pace at my house. How about that? Let's throw next pace at my house.
Yeah.
It'll take some convincing. I mean, got
I mean,
a lot of people to bring, so.
Well, actually, I do have a few
That's so
questions
true.
about pace because, as you might know, the Laurel racetrack might be shutting down. So
Yes,
how
everyone
will
is very aware of that.
how will that affect pace? Are you guys going to try choosing a different venue in the same area?
Oh yeah,
So,
that's a good question actually.
it's an interesting thing, but it doesn't affect pace as much as a lot of people thought initially, just
Mhm.
because the article is slightly misleading. It makes it sound like it's about to happen. It's a few years out if it will happen.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like imminent, like destruction of
like
the venue or anything like
immediately.
that. So at the very least, there's going to be some time there, and again, it's not like GSA has the venue. It's Xanadu, so it's kind of up to Xanadu what would happen with them, and maybe we wouldn't stay with Xanadu at that point, but Xanadu has to go somewhere. So I'm sure they would find somewhere probably nearby because they're kind of based there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So with GSA specifically, it's not a huge concern at this point, but it definitely has been like a thought that like what would we do? But I think we have enough time where it's probably not that big of a concern, just because if the event keeps growing, then we might be able to just move it somewhere else entirely.
Yeah,
Like kind of like
your
you know
own
how like
base.
GDQ does like their thing where they kind of have
Please
like
not
different
California.
locations and they're big. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to get to like that size at this point at all, but there at least we have years to scale to a point like that where we'd be able to do something like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the I don't know about the word glory, but I think the glory of pace is that it's not GDQ. There's not 2,500 people going always. It's a more low key event where you get to see people who you know are going to be there anyway, and you've already met them because they likely went to the last one. And I just think it's a lot more appealing to runners or to more experienced runners because every small runner wants to get into GDQ. That's how you make a name for yourself. But for more experienced runners, I think pace is a more appealing event.
It's a nice way to wind down, and like as chaotic as pace can be, it's definitely a more relaxing like place for sure.
If you will, it's a nice
I love
change of
that.
pace.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
So you guys, essentially, long story short, it's not gonna happen for a while, and if Xanadu moves at all, you guys will probably just stay with them.
That's the current plan. Of course, like, if something changes
Subject to change.
imminently, then yeah, it's all subject to change. As of right now, it's not a huge concern just because
Yeah.
it's all a while out and they might change like
I heard you guys
what's
went with
going on there.
I heard you guys went with a different hotel this time.
That is true.
They did.
Is there any reason for that, or is it just personal preference?
I mean,
I'm not sure if you've heard all of the interesting stories people have told about that you could sleep in, and it's
I've heard a few. I saw
it's very, very interesting history. Yeah.
I saw someone do a speed run of getting a room key to Joey's room without being Joey.
Yep.
Yeah, that's wild.
How do they just let that happen?
Yeah, that's always kind of questionable. So just like as a security standpoint, that seems kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not that like anyone would, because it's really haven't, as far as I know, at Pace there hasn't really been a history of like stuff like that happening. But like at some point someone is daring and crazy enough to try and like go in someone's room and like do stuff they're not supposed to. Like it's just like.
Oh
it's
yeah,
not good.
There's no like active threats or anything like that. It's more of just we want to proactively not do that.
Right.
Like, we don't want to wait until something like that does happen. Like that's partially the concern. Like the booking process is kind of annoying. Because you have to call for some reason, which is annoying,
so
and then that takes forever because sometimes they don't seem to have like the manager there. The rooms themselves are questionable, and then there's a decent amount of them that had like bugs in them, which was fun.
Yeah,
first
cockroaches were very common. I saw multiple rooms with them at the last pace, so it's not ideal, but the room, like the push, the turning point is like all of that. And then also the fact that the Best Western, which is the new hotel, is right there. It's really like, so like the Sleep Inn, and there's like the bridge that like goes across that little river there. It's literally right across the bridge.
Oh, okay. It's the one we literally walk past to get to Pace.
Yeah, literally.
Pretty much.
Kind of.
Wow.
It's not that far. It's a little bit farther, but not that much.
Okay.
I want to kind of like talk about the booking. Oh my god! So during the summer, right? So Daytendo, one of our friends that went to Pace the first time. He booked the room, right? Like originally,
right?
And this is so dumb. So. He found out that he couldn't go. It was like some like personal thing that happened, and he couldn't go. So I was like, all right. So I mean, I was like, okay. So worst comes to worst, you could probably have him like call him while we're doing the whole thing, because like the room was rented in his name and whatnot. We get there, and they said that his name wasn't on there, and I'm like, how did you guys not like? We were in BC when he called, like, and he confirmed that his name was on the list, and TLDR, I had to end up paying almost $1,600 for a room for that summer pace. It was awful. Dude, I lost so much money because of that.
Yeah,
it was very annoying.
Yeah, that's just
how do they let that happen? They're a fucking hotel
I don't know.
Chain.
They definitely knew. They were definitely were. There's no shot they weren't, because come on.
I don't know.
Like,
I'm pretty sure
your whole policy is
I'm pretty sure like before Pace, when I heard that Nintendo wouldn't be able to go, I even called them that night to make sure that his name was still to make sure his name was still on there, because like, okay, well, if he's not going, we still his name in, so we can have him on the phone while we're checking in or something. So I called them. I said, "Hey, then I said Daytendo's name. Is that name still on the Pace block list?" And they were like, "Yep, still here." So either they were lying twice about writing it down, or or the guy who checked us in is just a fucking idiot. I don't know.
It's one of those two, because like, yeah, I ended up paying that much money for it, so I had any money for anything else throughout the whole thing, and it was just like, bro, are you serious? It was so bad. It was not a great first day for that. It was awful. I don't know. It was, I don't know. It was, something was going on there, but
Dunkin' Donuts was my favorite part of that place. I love Dunkin' Donuts.
It's just the hotel situation was probably like just the worst. I feel like during the summer. I guess it didn't help that we already talked about this like for like a couple episodes at this point, but like the falling out that Joker had with me and Swag because of like it was just a mixture of so many things that just went bad. And obviously that has nothing to do with Pace. Pace itself had nothing to do with it. It was just the damn hotel. It was just so stupid.
Yeah, part of it was the hotel. Part of our falling out was because of the fucking hotel.
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna repeat the same things over and over again because we've already explained what happened.
You can go watch the other episodes.
Yeah, watch the previous episodes if you want to know want the full story on that.
Yeah, but I'm glad you guys switched. Really, even though I'm not.
Yeah,
it seems like people are gonna have a better time at the Best Western anyway. Do they do? Do they do a better breakfast?
I've heard that they do, but I haven't experienced it. I know the rooms are definitely better though.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Is it not a 2-star hotel? Is it like a 4-star instead?
I don't know if it's quite a 4-star, but it's definitely nicer. I know that much.
Good.
Because there was a couple people who did end up having rooms over there, even at last pace, just because they wanted something different and kind of away from the rest of it. Right. So I guess rip those people this time around, but yeah, it's definitely nicer than the Sleep Inn.
That's good. I'm glad. For anyone thinking about going to Pace, I just go. If you have the time and the money, just go. You're gonna have fun. Everyone always has fun if they go eventually. I wasn't having fun my first day on one of the days, and then I eventually had like the best vacation of my life. It felt like
times.
It was a bunch of like-minded people.
I think it's worth. Yeah. Just a bunch of idiots playing Mario.
It's pretty much just a convention.
Splatoon. Yeah.
Isn't that literally? Isn't it called a speedrunning convention?
And kind of. I mean, it's basically that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like people should go. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, take it from people who weren't sure yet. Like, yeah, like people who did go. Like, I had a blast. You know.
The only reason I'm not going is because of my job. That's literally the only thing.
Only reason I'm not going because I moved back into the city, New York City, like last month, so I don't have the money for it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think it's honestly worth, like, especially if you want to meet like more people in your respective communities, because it's not even just Mario. Like, yeah, it's mainly Mario people, but there are a lot of other cool people.
There's Lego people, Mario Kart,
Lego. Mario Kart, Sonic, Splatoon. Splatoon people are the best. I love hanging out. I love the Splatoon people.
There's a bunch of Mario Odyssey people going this time.
Oh yeah,
I've seen no Mario less than like 20 Mario Odyssey runners going this time.
It's just there's so many different like communities that blend very well together. Like, I feel like I said, like, usually with communities of different game franchises, you'd think that, like, you know, we'd be like, yeah, we're better than you, and you know, like stuff like that. But we mesh together very well, and I think it's just because we all technically have like a similar goal, which is we speedrun. We just like improving we just like improving the speedrunning stuff in our respective communities. We just like to play games fast. That's kind of what our central goal is, I feel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to see different games come together, because that means I get to try different games.
We're speedrunners. Cool. We're just built different.
That's so real. I don't know.
So true.
I like speedrunning. I like speedrunning usually gets a bad rep for people outside of the scope. Like I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this last episode where like Oh God, I don't even want to get started on that. But I think I mentioned this last episode where I said that like the gaming community is already kind of joked on, and the speedrunning community is joked on in the gaming community a lot, and it kind of sucks because I feel like I don't know, speedrunning is such a nice way to like replay a game, you know, like
Yeah,
it,
it's a
it,
different way to play
it's
a
a,
game.
it's a different approach,
Like
and
there
especially since there's
are
so many different things.
there are games
Yeah,
with a
go
lot of replayability, like Mario Odyssey. There's so much replayability of that game, unless you've played the game like 1,000 times. But
right.
if you ever decide to try it, like I didn't think I'd like Mario Odyssey or speedrunning at all. I thought I'd hate it, but then I tried it and I fucking loved Mario. That was like the I think that was the most fun I've ever had speedrunning any game was when I started out doing Mario Odyssey. I don't know why I had so much fun doing that. And I still have fun doing it to an extent. I'm bad now, but I got a D-Rust. But I'm just I think speedrunning is definitely not for some people.
Yeah, for sure. It's not for
If
everyone,
you're
of
not
course.
skilled, if you're not like a naturally skilled gamer, then I think speedrunning is kind of difficult. But
Well, yeah, as many things
if you've
would
been
be if you're
playing
getting
if you've been
into it.
playing games since you were a kid, like most of us have in the speedrunning scene, then try it. Pick up your favorite game, see how fast you can go through it, compare it to what other people have done. Just give it a try. I don't know why people have such a hard time doing that.
And it's like, again, at the end of the day, like if you still don't want to do that, that's up to you.
Yeah,
Like no one's forcing you to do it. But I just don't like how like I don't know, speedrunners are kind of just like joked on a lot of times, and it's like I feel like speedrunning kind of does a lot in terms, not even just for gaming, but just for human beings in general. It shows how capable we are of doing insane things. Like I want to do Super Mario Bros. A lot of justice here. Like that, the timing between like world record now for any percent and like Taz is crazy.
it's like a
Like
few frames,
we're
isn't it?
we're literally that close to beating a robot basically.
Yeah, the community
Which
some
is
of
supposed to play
best.
the game perfectly. That is the like a Taz is basically the theoretical perfect like speed run. That's pretty much what a Taz is, and it's like the fact that like people playing like speedrunning Super Mario Bros. 1, they're that close to beating the theoretical perfect time is actually crazy. Like let's be real. Like come on.
Yeah,
It's really cool. Like even strats that have been known to be task only, like carpetless. For the longest time, everyone was like, it's not possible. It's not viable in runs. You can't do it. Now all of a sudden we have like 5 different setups. Like, like it's crazy. Like think about, you know?
literally
Like so
the
many cool strats.
like two
I don't
years
know.
before I think it was either a year and a half or 2 years before carpetless became like an RTA viable strat. Simply made a video where he explained how carpetless could be done. Um, I guess viably, is that a word?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
How a carpetless could be done viably in a run with the bob-omb. Um,
Oh yeah, that
and
strat.
and it was like LBLJ into Dark World, finish it. LBLJ into or SBLJ into Fire Sea, finish it. Or DDD skip, fuck it, into Fire Sea and then finish it. And then BLJ up 50 stars and do Rainbow Ride first. And then you'd still save like 10 seconds over over a normal route,
Crazy.
apparently. I
64 and SMB1 are like insane.
I
Both
don't
those
think
games are
60 I
insane
think
in terms of
64
speedrunning.
is one of those games that's never going to be solved by humans.
I
But
I kind of agree.
I just don't
Well,
think a human
there's the
could go
key
that
word
fast.
here. You're saying humans, and by solved, I mean
True.
we have scattershot now.
That's true. That's so true.
Scattershot?
You're so right.
Yeah. So
And
if you haven't heard of
I've read about
scattershot,
that.
it's
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. So you know how like some games have like the brute force algorithms to like
Yeah.
help solve certain things. Scattershot's like
Right.
an advanced version of that. It is
Yeah.
extremely good. It has found a lot of different strats that have saved multiple frames in seconds on
Really?
various
It's
stars so
it's
far.
For tasks?
yeah, it's
And
crazy.
scattershot is the entire reason that the new era carpetless even exists.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
was entirely
It's really
scattershot.
crazy. I love that. Like, oh my god. I feel like I know it'll probably be a bit before 64 it's as close as SMB1 is right now, but like still seeing it is so impressive. Like
Yeah.
I think my favorite speedruns to watch where like you go extremely crazy fast. I think it's 64 and SMB1. Those are like my favorite two to watch. Like there's like speedruns of their games are so beautiful. Like watching movement in 64 is so nice. I love it.
Mario 64 at
like
the
60
top level is a work of art, dude.
It's so crazy. I could say the same about Sunshine, honestly. Sunshine is on the same like realm of that. I love seeing people play Sunshine.
All the 3D Mario
like all the 3D
games.
Marios, really. Yeah, all the 3D Marios. Like even the
like,
Galaxy games,
even like
pretty
3D
crazy
Land and 3D
strats.
World.
I'd say like yeah, like 3D World is pretty cool. Like with the like vectoring and I forgot the other version of it, but it's like another way of vectoring where you like crouch boosting. Where you, like crouch boosting is pretty crazy, and like cat momentum and all that stuff is really cool. And the Galaxy game strats is really good. I love seeing Galaxy strats.
Odyssey, it has its own like subgenres of speedrunning. There's like actually speedrunning, and then there's trick jumping.
Yeah,
and then there's just doing
awesome.
cool shit. They're still finding stuff for that game.
What's even crazier is seeing like people who are new to the scene or like people who haven't been there as long as the veterans. They just come in and start dominating a game that's been around forever, and they just come in and they all of a sudden you see they have like a 140 and 120 star, and it's like how, like it's insane to see.
Feels
like it's really cool.
It feels like Suigi just came out of nowhere.
Bro's on a mission. I respect Suigi.
I think he was only playing for like 2, maybe 3 years before he got record in
bro's
16.
on a mission, and he's insane. Like I cannot believe the amount of records that he's gotten.
It is
really
he had
cool.
4 out of 5 at one point, and he was going for 120 eventually.
And those, and you know, you could say like, oh yeah, I have a bunch of records, and a lot of times when people say that, it's usually games that like it'll usually be categories that aren't like the main categories. Usually like the category extensions or like the meme categories, but like. He had 4 of the 5 main categories in a game that's like probably one of the like most popular games like out there.
A game it's
crazy.
It's very heavily contested.
Yeah, it's impressive to see. It's oh my god. I don't know. I always love seeing it. Like category sweeps in games are like really cool. Like I think Galaxy 2 had one. I think Galaxy 2 had a category sweep at one point. I just can't remember.
Yeah.
But
I've had a few category sweeps before. I've done Job Simulator and Cooking Llama. Granted, I only had Cooking Llama's category sweep for about a day. I think there was some kind of movement going on for me to not have every world record in that game. But I plan on coming back once I get my 3DS capture card.
Nah, you know what we should do?
What?
We should shift that meta to co-op. See like the top runners playing co-op. And getting all the crazy strats, bro. I would love to see that.
That
like,
would be cool.
Like the meta, like switch to SM64 co-op, and like seeing like I don't like the top like top like 5 runners in 120 do like a run. It'd be crazy.
That would be cool.
I would love to do something like that.
They couldn't do carpetless.
Oh yeah, because
they can't buffer.
They wouldn't be able to. You can't buffer in co-op because of the way it works.
Has someone done
you can do it in single player. I'm pretty sure you can do it in single player in co-op because there is the pausing. You can pause buffer. I don't know if it's possible bufferless. I don't want to say it is or isn't.
Do you know? Artemis?
Of course, I'll leave that to the experts.
It is just not feasible.
It's not viable to go for it.
Co-op?
No, I think it's been done once.
After after like Unstable 25 in co-op, it's been like the stuff in it's been slightly different, and it's not crazy drastic, but it's different enough for like anyone speedrunning 64 to know like, hey, this isn't right. Like a lot of the camera setups for certain tricks like sky jump or the beginning triple jump wall kick and THI for secrets, that shit's way different because of the way the camera is now. It's weird. It's not bad, but it's definitely different enough to throw off like the average 64 speedrunner. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like it is possible, but like speedrunners would like top dogs would definitely have to like get used to that sort of stuff. It wouldn't be as simple as they can just pick it up and that's it. Like carpetless as even in single player, carpetless is pretty hard, and multiplayer is even worse. I feel like even like cycles, you also got to think about cycles because like if one person enters a stage, right? Like say for example Dark World, and then the second person enters Dark World, the cycle's screwed. Same thing with Fire Sea. Like you can't get zero cycle in Fire Sea if another person's already in there. So it's like you also got to keep that in consideration. So the meta for co-op wouldn't be the exact same as vanilla. It would definitely be different, not just because of its multiplayer, but there's quite a few things that are unintentionally different from vanilla 64 that I feel would have to be kept into consideration. But I would still love to see it. I would love to see like a bunch of 64 runners coming together and going ham on like this on co-ops leaderboards. Because I know Suigi, I think like was it Suigi and someone else? They were like grinding 16 star for a while. I know GTM, yeah, Suigi and GTM, they were grinding 16 star in co-op for a while, which was really cool to see.
And
people get into
then
it.
it eventually was Suigi and someone else. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
But they had world record technically for a while. They just it requires both POVs to be submitted, and one of them wasn't recording.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just I feel like
it would be really cool if a bunch of runners like recognized co-op. I know that who was it? Was it GTM, Liam, and someone else they were playing co-op at one point? And I know you joined them eventually.
Yeah, we were playing Arena, and I like just so happened to join a room that GTM and Suigi were in, and it was fun. It was hella fun. I had a good time. I think like GTM noticed that I was in the game. I guess he recognized me for my name, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, he knows
like,
you from Pace, probably.
Like this was fun. It was fun though. Like and I noticed like, and it's not that like they're just now figuring out co-op. Like they've actually known about co-op for a while. Like top runners have known about co-op for quite a while actually.
Yeah.
Like I remember. I think Artemis, you had made a mod right like a while ago, and simply had made a video on it. I thought that was pretty cool. I'd love to see them do something like that again.
That 10v2, and like
actually, I think. Oh, wait!
I
didn't spoil that.
Because what I had made was I made the star leaderboard so they could actually see who had, like who had collected whatever amount of stars.
By the end of like the 10 people, wasn't it like Stans had like 30 stars or something? And everyone else had like
I think Stans had the most, and then everyone else was way less.
Yeah,
I would love to do another video like that. That'd be fun.
That would be super. Cool.
I think
like a minus world.
Man, I want to say like a speaking of type thing, but I would be spoiling like so hard, and I don't want to do that to Bizarre. Oh my god, it's cool though. It has to do with co-op. I can't say. I can't really say. Yeah, I can't really say.
Yeah.
But I would love to like see more videos like that where like top level runners do stuff like that. Like they play like different cool like mods and co-op. Like that star thing was cool. I would love to do something like that. Like it wasn't it like was it like Cheese and Simply versus everyone else? It was like that, right?
Yeah.
Where I would love to do something like that. That'd be so cool. Fun to do. Just like get a bunch of people and just play. Oh my god. That's a dream to do something like that. Maybe we could. I mean, if we can get like a bunch of people, I'm sure we DMs. Could. Like I could like if Cheese and Simply were down again, like we could totally organize that, and just like we could do like another one of those. That'd be fun.
I've sent Simply maybe 2 messages ever and 1 message on Twitter, and he's never responded to any of them. So.
Simply's a busy guy though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Simply be busy, to be fair. Bro's got a lot, you know. So that's honestly fair.
Yeah, he's
I'd love to see like that stuff. That'd be fun.
And also I think Simply's like I don't want to say he's moving away from Mario 64, but I see him doing it less.
Yeah, that's also true.
He
Like
still does 120. He's been doing more 120 runs recently, actually, ever since his PB. But um, I feel like
sometimes,
he's kind
yeah,
of moving
sometimes you just
away.
grow out of it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fair.
sometimes you just grow out of it.
He's
People
been doing it
just
for
get
like
sick.
13 years, so I don't really blame him.
Yeah, it's been a very long time for a lot of these runners, honestly. So it's
Yeah.
like it makes sense that a lot of people are they're at the point where like, should I keep doing this? I don't think it's really. I
Even
don't know.
like,
It makes sense.
jeez.
I think yeah,
It's crazy
but
that
I'm
people who I mean, I guess it's not super crazy, but people who haven't played the game for as long are better than like Cheese and Simply now.
mhm.
I mean,
Like
there's been
That's
so
due to
many
those new
different
stats, right?
things that have happened in that time. Because
that's
like
Yeah.
true.
when Cheese and Simply started, like what were they stuck with their practice things? Like they had maybe emulator, maybe Game Shark was like the big
There
thing
really,
then.
yeah, it
But
really
Yeah.
wasn't
like
like
Usamune
meta or
didn't
anything.
exist until like a couple of
Yeah,
years ago, really. And Usamune
yeah.
is huge. And then also more recently, like there is this entire Ikori method, which is just a method of practicing, and that was
Mhm.
largely popularized by Ikori and how fast they improved. So there's been multiple different runners like Callie. Callie has used that method extensively, and the idea is that
Right.
you set goal times for stages as a whole. So if you're really good at one star and bad at the other, you don't have goal times necessarily for the star, but for the stage as a whole, and then you get really consistent at that. Then you upgrade to like the segment
Mhm.
RTAs, and then you do it full runs, and clearly
Yep.
it
Right.
works. But there's just been, it's not
So
just
many
that like,
better tools. Yeah.
yeah, it's not even just that like, maybe people are better, and maybe that's true too. But it's also that there's so many different new resources, and you have like effectively a full decade of learning what is the best before
That's
you.
true.
Right. That is
And
true.
at
Yeah.
the
It's,
I wonder what
I
the
love
records
seeing it
were.
though.
I wonder what the records were at the time when they started. When they started, it was probably Siglemic still on top with like a 148 or
I think
something.
so. I can't believe that. Like, that's like it's like that's like crazy with speedrunning. Like, you see like times and you're like, that's not possible. Like, like this, it's not gonna happen. And then you
Yeah.
just like imagine bringing the time down for 120 star by like 20 minutes, bro. That's crazy.
I think
That's insane. Like,
yeah. I think Liam's first record was don't quote me on this. I think it may have been like a 138 3x. And the fact that now we're literally with Karen getting runs every day, we're on the verge of a 135 is insane.
it's crazy when these minute barriers get broken. It's honestly crazy to see. It's the same thing with 16 stars. 16 stars the same way. We're like, this isn't possible. Like, no shot, and then it just happens. It's like, what? Like, hello.
It feels like it's
It's
gone so fast from 137 to 136 to
yeah.
135.
And the craziest part is that we're not done. 64, I feel like, is
Yeah.
far from being optimized as the game. I feel like there's still much work to do.
Next 120 test is
I don't
probably going
know.
to be probably a 119, huh?
I think we're
Probably.
past that.
I see that.
We're past
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
I feel like
Wow.
yeah, it kind of makes. I don't know. It's
I mean,
just.
I
Oof.
guess it kind of makes sense. They literally play the game perfectly.
That's true.
Tasses are just Tasses fucking cheat. That's what they do. That's all they do. I hate
They cheat.
they just cheat. I want to do tasks for so many games, but there's no good tassing resource for PC. I know there's libtasks, which you can get for PC, technically, if you use like Ubuntu, but there's no good like frame by frame program really. And I
I
wonder
guess
why
like
that
I was
is.
just thinking about this, but for like 3D Mario, like none of the games, 100% wise, have surpassed a sub hour, which makes sense. I mean, it's 100% category. It's
Wow.
going to be the longer one. You're getting everything. But the fact that 64 is probably like the closest to that is actually insane to me.
That is
Like,
pretty. I mean, in terms of it's the closest, but also it's still like 17 minutes away.
Yeah, it's still the closest, and it's the fact that like a gaming 100% wise can be completed in that short amount of time is insane. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, 64 is definitely like not as story oriented, not many cutscenes, so like things are fast. You just grab a star, you leave the stage, come back, like everything's
Yeah.
instant. The only cutscene you see that really affects the speedrun is the 45 seconds you have to endure at the beginning, which is the intro cutscene. So it's like that's like probably the only thing, but
Yeah,
other than that, like,
granted, with every new 3D Mario game, it seems like they just add more and more. Like, I wouldn't be
yeah. Oh yeah.
surprised if there's even more collectibles in the next 3D Mario game than there was in Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey, yeah, because they had 120. It's like weird. They went from 120 in 64, then 120 with an asterisk for Sunshine because you have to do 120, but in order to get like 24 of those shines, you have to get 240 blue coins.
Hmm.
And then they went back to the 120 star route, but they didn't really do that in They kind of like tricked you in Galaxy, where like
242.
it's technically 242 because you have to play the game as both Mario and Luigi just to get the 121st star.
Yeah.
And you have to do it twice to get, yeah, so it's like it's technically 242 if you really want to put a technicality on it. 64 DS had 150, and then
Odyssey has
Galaxy
800 and
2,
fucking 80.
yeah, Odyssey has 880. Technically, as I mean, you could max out the moon counter, but in terms of
Oh,
in terms
wait.
of unique,
Is Odyssey
'cause
faster than 242?
what in
Is
terms of
all
100%?
is all moons faster than 242?
How long is all moons?
Oh, I
Like,
gotta
what's the
check.
record for
Hold
that?
on. I think it's like
Because it might be
7 hours 30.
how long is G2? Is it?
Here, let me look at both.
Yeah, that's faster than G2 if it's 7
I
hours.
think it's. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, right. G2 is like 8 and
Super
above, right?
Mario
I'm pretty sure.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
That's insane.
I
I mean,
didn't
to be
think
fair
about that.
though, like it's like what I just
Wow,
explained about
709.
64,
Yeah.
where it's like what I explained with 64. Odyssey is such a fast-paced game that it makes sense. Like you collect moons and it takes like 4 seconds. Like I obviously I don't think
That's
that's the
true.
true number, but it's definitely like it's way faster than 64 in that regard. You grab so many moons, and that's why there's so many everywhere.
That is
So it's
true.
like,
Other than like 3D World and 3D Land, where the stars you collect within the levels, they're just
yeah,
collectibles. Um, Mario Odyssey is the first like collectathon 3D Mario game that where it actually feels like you're collecting something, I think. Because
yeah,
I feel like when I'm collecting star coins or green stars in 3D Land and 3D World respectively, I feel like I'm
they're
not
just
really collecting anything. I need
well, yeah,
them
they're the equivalent in yeah,
to
3D
unlock
Land and
stuff.
yeah, they're more structured for they're like because like they use the three collectible system that the new Soup games do. But
Yeah.
the new Soup games technically, I mean, for 100%, you do need the star coins, and you like if you want to do like every stage in the game, you do need them to a degree. Not every single one of them, but you do need like them because they do have like you need 5 star coins or whatever barrier. But yeah, I see what you mean in
Yeah.
regards of
I mean, I guess in terms of that,
like
like the new Soup games are 2D games that are built like 3D games, and then 3D Land, 3D World are 3D games that are built like 2D games.
I feel like it was kind of smart in what they did for 3D Land and World, where you needed those things to progress, so it still felt like a 3D game where you had to collect stuff.
Yeah.
Because like in order to like I said, like in order to even beat the game, like normally you need 170 of them, which is like I want to say just over out the halfway mark with the amount you need that are all like in the entire game. You need every green star and Sam up to that point, and every flagpole just to even get to the last world of the game. So it's like, yeah, I think they did pretty smart for 3D Land and World. But yeah, I can see what you mean when you say it doesn't feel like you're collecting something as opposed to like a power star or
Yeah.
a shine sprite in
For
the past
me,
games
for me
or a moon.
personally, playing through all the games casually, in 3D Land and 3D World, I feel like when I was doing them casually, I would only collect them when I needed to. Like if I went to something and I had to unlock it and I didn't have enough, then I'd just
Yeah.
go back and collect more. But there's no game like the I don't want to call them the actual 3D Mario games because technically 3D Land and 3D World are actual 3D Mario games. But I guess the traditional 3D Mario games, they make you want
The
to
540
collect
games,
these things.
1862 games, yeah. The
They
collectathon. I just say
yeah.
collectathon games.
The collectathon games.
Pretty much.
They make you want
Pretty
to
much.
collect those things. It feels like more you have to go out of your way to collect those because you're forced to because you need them to progress through the game, which you do in the other games too. But in the other games you want to collect them.
Yeah.
That's how at least that's how I
More
felt.
of
I don't know if anyone
that,
else
that makes
feels
sense.
that way. But
What are your thoughts on that, Artemis? Like, how are you feeling about it? Like, oh, are you there,
Hmm.
Artemis? Oh, there.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
I
thought
thought
I
you fell
like-
asleep for a second.
No.
No, I thought I cut out. That's what that was. I thought I had like cut out or
No, you're
something.
good.
Go ahead.
Or like what part of it? I guess it's just like with.
It's a pretty hard like thing
Yeah,
to like
it's
dive
like
into because it's like
especially if you haven't played all the 3D games. I don't know if you have,
yeah.
but it's
I've played.
hard to get into.
Have I played? I think I've played most of them at least. I haven't played like 64DS or 3D Land, but
Yeah, that's
I think
fine.
yeah, but I think I've played.
You still have
most
the
of them.
general idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I just find it funny that like so many people hate on 3D World. Like in terms of multi Mario, a lot of people think that 3D World's like the worst game. It's kind of funny to me, and I
Yeah,
can see
there's
why.
so
though.
many like
I think it's just the expectation thing of what people were
Wanted.
expecting from the game
Yeah.
and wanted, yeah, because people wanted, like Odyssey, effectively.
Yeah.
Like that's
Oh
what
my
we ended up
God.
getting, but like
And they
people
got
wanted
linear
something that
levels.
was a lot more like
That was what the previous
Sunshine
3D
or
games did.
64, because
Yeah.
galaxies are fairly linear. I know they're not
Oh, yeah.
perfectly linear, and obviously you can jump around and everything, of course, but it feels a lot more linear compared to Sunshine or Mario 64, where it is just
Yeah.
kind of do whatever you want.
Especially Galaxy 2. They literally just said we're gonna take a page out of 2D Mario and give you a world map. Have fun.
Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, it's still. I think Galaxy 2 is great, but it's just not what people wanted. It's like it feels a lot less open.
It's
And I
more
guess
like
that kind
DLC.
of makes
I mean,
sense because it's galaxies, so I guess you probably don't want them to feel all the same and be part of the
Well,
same thing, but
it's
still.
I guess in a way it's more of a DLC expansion of the first game, and I mean quite literally it kind of is right down to the file's name, like the internal game's name. It's Super Mario Galaxy More. That's what it's called. And it's like that doesn't mean that Galaxy 2 is bad. I greatly enjoy G2, but that yeah, what you're saying is kind of valid. Like I could see like why people would prefer a Mario game that like a Mario 3D Mario that's on the realm of the sandbox games, which is 64 Odyssey, Sunshine. And it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like not even that like I don't know how to describe it. It's just like Galaxy's so different in that because even with the individual, I think it's like not even just like the overworld, but like the stages themselves. Because with like Mario 64, sure you can't do every star and every like what are they called, like scene, every star you can't do every star. Like
Yeah, there's some act specific like things that you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah, acts. That's what they're called. Mario 64. Like you can't do like you could get like the JRB Red Star on Act 1 because the ship is
Right.
sunk. But like they're all still there, and you get the idea from it there. But with Galaxy in general, both Galaxy games, it's if you select Star 1, you
have
in
to
like
do it.
Good Egg Galaxy, you are killing the baby piranha. Like that's what you're doing. And Sunshine has that to an extent, but you can still explore, and it feels like there's a lot more to do.
Sunshine, I feel like Sunshine did open world, like the feeling of open world the best. It might not have done like shine sprites the way that 64 did stars, but I gotta give props to Sunshine. Like, as tedious as the blue coins are, I feel like there was a way to explore. Just like Yeah, it mainly dumbed
Yeah.
down to spray everything to see if there's a blue coin in it. But it made you, I think, in a way, and as copium as this sounds, I feel like in a way it taught you how to use flood better. Like it taught you
Yeah,
how
it
to
makes you
explore
want
more.
to explore, which is
Yeah,
like a huge thing there. Because
I
Mario
think
64, you wanted to explore just to find the stars and to, I guess, at the time, like, play in 3D.
yeah, and I
Sunshine, at least, like, you got the idea to do all the blue coins, but as soon as you hit Galaxy, you, like, get into it and it's cool, but
super
you
linear.
have what are you
Mhm.
doing? Your goal is to get
Yeah.
the star, but it's not like you can find an extra star, and unless for like, except for very specific circumstances, of course, but you
yeah,
feel way less of that pressure to explore. It's just
right.
kind of do the thing.
I think they overcompensated with Odyssey because of that.
Well,
It's
I
like-
don't know if it's necessarily overcompensating. I get what you're saying, but it's just, it was so long between a quote unquote like real 3D one.
Yeah,
Or what people wanted, right? Like, because the last
technically,
sandbox was
Sunshine, 2002.
Yeah.
That was 15
So,
years prior.
If it was 64
was
released
15.
in 96,
Yep.
Sunshine released in 2001, 2002,
2002.
so 6
And
years.
then Odyssey released in 2017. That's 15 years of
Yeah.
like
When did Galaxy
of
release?
the 2007.
2006. 2007?
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2007.
So
And then
5
G2
years,
2010.
and then
G2
3
was
years,
2010.
and then
Yeah,
7
I'm
for Odyssey.
2010.
So we're due for a new 3D Mario game.
I mean,
That's
Nintendo hasn't
that's
really
true, I guess.
They haven't really been saying much about it. I mean, there are rumors about a 3D Mario game that's supposed to be like extremely huge, but I haven't seen anything on
Look,
it,
man,
like
I
in
just,
terms of like Nintendo. Like,
I-
yeah,
I
we've been
just-
like, yeah,
just
we've been
want Odyssey
getting
too.
like we've been getting cool things, but I feel like, and I guess this would be pulling it back to Wonder for a bit. I think Wonder's like hype kind of died pretty quickly,
It
and I
did.
feel like it's mainly because it's a 2D Mario, and it's not Mario Wonder's fault. I think it's like weird because a lot of people always say like, "Oh, we got so many new Soup games and all that stuff," but the new Soup Legacy only lasted 6 years, and there were only 4 games, and that's less than the amount of 2D games we had before that. But I think it's because we had so many 2D Marios, not even because of the new Soup series. I think it's because we had so many 2D Marios, more than 3D Marios. Because like, what, we have the Mario trilogy, including the USA version of Mario 2. We have the Land series. We have Yoshi's Island, if you count that as Mario. I mean, most people don't. And it's like, that's so many games. And then if you want to count like the re-releases of like the All-Stars package and the Super Mario Advance series, the new Soup titles, there were so many 2D Mario games as opposed to 3D. Like they're like what, 9 3D Mario games? Like, if we're being real, like mainline 3D Mario games, I'm pretty sure there are only 9.
64 DS, Sunshine, Galaxy, Galaxy 2, 3D Land, 3D World, Odyssey. 8.
Bowser's Fury, if you count that as
If
well.
you count Bowser's Fury, then 9.
Yeah, it'd be 9. That's 9 3D Marios. Bowser's Fury was more of like a DLC. I still kind of count it because it is its own like campaign, its own game.
It's its own campaign.
But like, the thing is, like I said, the ratio of 3D Mario to 2D Mario is crazy, and I think that's why Mario Wonder, like, I'm not saying Mario Wonder is bad in the slightest. It's a great game, very
Mhm.
beautiful.
beautiful.
But I think it's mainly because we've done the song and dance so many times before that the hype for that game was just not as great as Odyssey's was. Because I feel like Odyssey's hype was insane, and like people were still talking about it for so long. And I feel like with Wonder, like sometimes I forget it's on my Switch library. You know, as great as
Yeah.
that game was, like I beat the game 100% in it, but that was kind of it. You know.
Yeah, Wonder did die
I don't
down
know.
very quickly. I think people are just more inherently interested in the games that you can explore more, and that is just the 3D Mario.
3D
games,
Mario.
other than like
Yeah.
Galaxy. And I know Swag and them, they all say like they really want Galaxy 3 or something. I really don't think that's the direction Nintendo wants to go, nor should they go.
like I said, I don't mind a Galaxy 3. I think that would be great.
I think they
but
need
I feel like,
another Sunshine type game.
yeah, like a sandboxy game. I feel like that'd be nice to have.
I like the
Not,
way
I
that they're
don't know.
going in terms of the
I don't want.
sidekicks. Because each game has like
Oh
a
yeah,
sidekick.
I
Like
love
64 didn't, but with Sunshine they had Flood, with Galaxy they had the Lumas, with Odyssey you had Cappy. So what's the next one?
that. Yeah, and Bowser's Fury, you had Bowser's Jr. If you want to count
Yeah,
that
if
game,
you want to count
which was
that,
pretty
sure.
cool.
So
And like,
for the next
I guess,
collectathon, then what's
I
next?
guess like oh, actually, 64 did have a companion. Not
I
really,
guess
but
Lakitu, but
yeah, but
if you want to
technically,
count
yeah. I
that.
mean, each 3D game, and what's so good about each 3D game is that they feel, but obviously besides G1 and 2, which are obviously they're brought up very similarly. Which again, that's just because one was built off the other. That makes sense. Like literally, like they were just like,
Yeah.
oh, we'll just take the first game and patch it a little bit. Like that's kind of what the move set in terms of move set, I would say. In terms of content, obviously it's different, but I feel like yeah, each 3D Mario just kind of feels different in that regard. Like I said, 64, each game has its own mechanics too. It's like 64 had the cat power-ups. Like that was their main attraction, was the wing cap, metal cap, vanish cap, and the power stars being the main objective. Sunshine had the flood boxes, turbo hover, and rocket. Galaxy had this Mario spin and just gravity in general. The same
And it had
Galaxy
different
2.
power-ups, like the beam
Yeah.
and the cloud and the dark
Mhm.
what is the
And
red
then
star?
3D World and Land took a more linear approach to the 3D games, which was honestly, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Like
pretty cool.
seeing 3D games operate as a 2D games, look, that's actually pretty sick. I kind of like.
And then Bowser's
I
Fury
kinda
pretty
like
much just is a 3D game. It's like if you
Yeah.
took the idea of 3D World and then put it into a collectathon
Like Breath of the
type
Wild,
game.
and yeah, it's like a Breath of the Wild in that regard almost. Like it was
Almost,
what it
yeah.
was trying to go for, and like Odyssey obviously had Cappy and like the extra cap bounce and
Yeah,
all
what
that
more
stuff.
do
It
you
was
need?
cool.
Oh
yeah,
the
I love
captures.
that.
That's their power-ups. The capture. That's
Yeah,
their
the
gimmick.
captures.
Yeah.
I think that each 3D Mario game, like I think that's why people are more so leaning towards the 3D genre of Mario, because each game always brings something new to the table. Like no matter what it is, as goofy and silly as it might be, it's something new and it's something you've never seen before, and it's something you want to experience. And
Yeah.
I think that's why like a lot of people like 3D Mario more than 2D Mario, because there's only so much you can do with 2D Mario. Like Mario Wonder, they went crazy with it. Like I love the Wonder effects. I think they're amazing. But like, what do you do after that? Like, how do you top that?
Because surely they're not going to do Wonder 2. They're not going to make the same mistake as they did with the new Soup games.
No, there's no way. I would hope not.
At this point, I don't see them making Odyssey 2. So I really just wonder what's next.
It's shown. I mean, the NES trilogy obviously like withstand that, because obviously the 3 Mario games did great. First 3 games were good in that regard at the time, and they still hold up pretty well, I feel. But I feel like, yeah, as they kept going, like later on, I feel like the games that were getting sequels, they just kept feeling repetitive in that sense. Because I mean, yeah, it's a sequel. It's supposed to be continuation, Descendant Third. It's supposed to be the next entry in that series. That makes sense.
I think they were planning Odyssey 2. And then I think COVID fucked it up. Because they had updates for Odyssey going into 2020.
Yeah. It's like
whether it be small updates or Luigi's Balloon World, they still were getting updates, but it just suddenly stopped.
But I think that's less on video games. I think it's more like for sequels. I feel like it's more in terms of anything, any type of media. Because like even with movies, when you see movies getting a bunch of sequels, eventually people are like, oh, I mean, it's great. Like sometimes, in some cases, sequels are like not as good as the original in some cases, not all. But like, I guess that I don't want to say that applies to Mario, because a lot of people love Galaxy 2 over Galaxy 1, which is valid.
Swag.
But it seems like actually most of the multi-Mario community loves Galaxy 2 over 1. Yeah. But I feel like if you keep adding more, like if you keep adding sequels, like I said, New Soup is a good example of that. It'll start getting stale at some point. People will start getting tired of the same thing. And I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like they don't, if they like do like an Odyssey 2 or a Galaxy 3, I feel like that just won't be. I feel like that just won't be the right play. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe that's just me. As much as I would love to have those games, I don't know if it's a good idea. Especially considering that, again, we haven't had a 3D Mario since Odyssey, and like, and Mario releases in general have been pretty like not that great in terms of originality. I mean, we got Wonder and Odyssey. Those are like the only really original title. I guess Mario and Rabbids, if you want to count that too. But that's really the only things we've really gotten. Like, mostly we've gotten just games that have existed already, like on Wii U, like 3D World and Mario Kart 8, which is great. I love that these games are on Switch, but the fact that our 35th anniversary of Mario, we got nothing new. We got 3D All-Stars, which, again, are 3 ports of games that have already existed. We got 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which, yeah, Bowser's Fury is a new thing, but again, it's prepackaged with a game that existed on the Wii U. We got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and like at the beginning of the Switch's life. We got Super Mario RPG, and as much as I love that game, it's still
just
and
Mario
even
RPG.
T2ID. Yeah, T2ID is coming out later this year.
Yeah,
or it's coming out like next month. Super Princess Peach was great. I still want to get that game. I've seen really good things about it. I really want to get it. And that's like what, 1 or 2 new things out of like a bunch of Mario that we've gotten, and it's been like what, 2 things that we've gotten that it's new.
Yeah, we mentioned this on the last podcast too, that there's just a weird nostalgia thing going around right now with Nintendo.
Definitely, yeah. It started in 2020. I feel like it's not even just Nintendo. It's most companies, because like even games like Hat in Time has like a Nintendo 64. Like, I mean, Hat in Time get a pass mainly because like, I mean, it's the only of its franchise, and it's an indie game, so it makes sense. So like that, right, I'll give that a pass. But like most games are like, yeah, they're ringing in on the nostalgia, like,
yeah,
which honestly is a smart move in some degree. Like,
that's true, and also people who never got to, younger folk who've never gotten to play them, they have the chance to experience them now.
Like TTYD, they were like, "Oh, you guys want a Paper Mario game like TTYD? Why not just give you that game again?
Here's fucking TTYD. You want it?"
I mean, it's kind of what it was, you know. I'm everyone always complains that. Yeah, I'm excited for it too. And it's like, I feel like so many people have complained that each Paper Mario game after TTYD wasn't TTYD. They were like, you know what? We're just going to give you TTYD. How about that? Instead of just giving you a game that's like it, we'll just give you the game again.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's nice, but...
That's true, yeah. I mean, with that logic, if people want Melee 2 so bad, they could just make an HD version of Melee. But
oh, God,
I really don't see that happening. Can you imagine making just a really graphically capable version of Melee on current gen hardware? That would just be atrocious. I would
hate to see any Smash game get an HD remake. I'm gonna be honest. I think that the charm of each
only
Smash game,
accept Subspace.
I think, yeah, if they like put Subspace like in another Smash game or something, I think that's fine.
That is the only thing
I'd
accept.
Smash in general, I would not like to see an HD remake of any Smash game, and it's only because I feel like part of the charm of each Smash game is the way they look, their presentation. Like, each Smash game gets more and more detailed as time goes by, and I feel like that's the charm of each game.
Right.
Like, 64 has its extremely blocky and angular models. Melee cranks it up a bit with the saturation. Brawl cranks it up with the detail, and like it just keeps getting, I think
super
it's great.
Cartoony.
Yeah. I think that's the whole charm of each game. So it's like to HDify it would be that's kind of how I feel in a sense with Mario Party Superstars. Don't get me wrong, I love to see the HD versions of those maps and mini games. Like, it's really cool. Yeah. But there's something about the original Mario Party games that, like, it's just the charm of it, The really blocky like graphics that the N64 games had. It just, I don't know. It's just something about that I just find myself going back to the originals over Superstars or Top 100.
Right, yeah.
And I think it's really nice. There's a specific, and I think that's why companies are phoning in. They're reining in on the nostalgia, because they know that people they long for the days of nostalgia where they can be a kid again playing on their N64 or SNES. So the companies know about it, which is why there's been so many more remakes and remasters of games.
Yeah.
So,
Alrighty, y'all. Well, Artemis, I just have one more question for you.
Sure.
What's next for Artemis?
Right now is a really weird spot for me because I'm in the middle of a lot of things.
Right.
I'm about to move again. My life's gonna change again because of that, like entirely.
No,
I'm doing a lot
true.
more for pace. I got a whole bunch of personal projects. So,
Is there anything
the next
exciting
thing is,
you're
I
looking out
guess,
for?
I guess one of my projects is gonna be officially revealed fairly soon here, so that'll be kind of just
That's
exciting to be out there. But
Yeah.
overall, I think it's just kind of I got a lot of stuff, and it will just happen. But it'll be pretty cool. I'm always doing cool stuff.
Good. Awesome. Where can people find you?
Uh, really, it's basically just Twitter. I'm kind of just around and floating everywhere.
Yeah.
But so really, it's just Artemis6425 on Twitter. That's probably the best way to follow my stuff. So that's when I'll post about anything really cool I do.
Sweet.
real.
Well, we are extremely lucky to have you on. As we said, you are the greatest Mario 64 speedrunner of all time, and a woman.
Shut up. Oh my god.
So
Oh, I had to point out.
you are the. Oh my god, we have like such a diverse cast. We've already had 2 female guests on.
Oh my god.
We've had Patty and
I'm-
Artemis.